Well, you pretty much knew what was going to happen this evening on a very impromptu show. I had something I wanted to talk about tonight. And, well, as we all know, Ozzy Osbourne passed away today. So we're going to be doing an Ozzy Osbourne show. And I have a couple guests lined up. So we're going to go to that in just 1 second. Just going to take this time to invite everybody to join the Patreon for only $5 a month. Patreon.com/Real Izzy Presley. Subscribe to this YouTube or whatever you're listening on. And if you're listening not onto the Patreon, well, you're probably hearing ads. But Patreon, there are no ads. It's only $5 a month. Just jump on there. Hit up all the other social medias, Real Izzy Presley, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, Cameo, everything all the way across the board. Of course, the show page on Facebook. Give that a like as well. Another effing podcast. And without further ado, rest well, Ozzy Osbourne.
Hi, this is Bobby Brown, and welcome to another fucking podcast.
Truly a sight to behold. The man beat the once great champ, now a study in moppishness. No longer the victory-hungry stallion we've raced so many times before, but a pathetic, washed-up, aged ex-champion.
All right, let's go.
I think you know the guy. And I think you know him pretty damn well. His name is
Izzy Presley.
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 What's my name? Say my name, bitch!
My good friend.
Izzy Presley.
Izzy Presley.
Izzy Presley.
Izzy Presley. Ouch!
Izzy Presley. Whoa, that sounds a little weird.
Izzy Presley.
Izzy Presley.
Izzy Presley, the heaviest, girthiest rock DJ around.
Hey, this is Jeff LaBar. You listen to Izzy Presley. Those aren't pillows.
Hello, Las Vegas. Hello, world. Hello, my loyal minions. It is good to see you. It's always good to be seen. I'm Izzy Presley. I'm a host of the program, which you know is another effing podcast. And we already got all the sentimental bullshit out of the way, the mutual bullshit out of the way at the top of the show. So we're just going to dive right in. Minnesota folks might remember my guest, Rudy Pavich, 93X. He's now a comedian. And well, I suppose you've always been a comedian, though, right?
Yeah, I always dabbled in it. Before we get into that, I want to hear some of the sentimental shit. No. Listen,
Oh no, it wasn't the sentimental shit. It was actually more of the mutual bullshit.
Okay.
It was just the join the Patreon. Here's my links.
Yeah. We already. Yeah. We already.
I just wanted to get
good.
that shit out of the way so we could just dive right in. So
Yeah. I get a percentage of this podcast.
yeah,
I don't know how much. I don't know what the going rate is, but I usually charge 65 to 70%. So
okay,
well, you know what? Listen, let's just let our Jewish lawyers knock this shit out. Let's talk about Ozzy. That's why we're here today, everybody. Okay.
That is right. So you guys might remember him from 93X. I'm sure you do if you're from the Midwestern Minnesota area. Of course, he is now a regular on the Adam Carolla Show. He does work for Adam. He's out on the road with Adam all the time. Rudy Pavich, welcome to another fucking podcast.
Dude, great to hang with you, man. I love every chance we get to shoot the kibitz, but man, it's under some terrible circumstances, dude.
No, absolutely.
How did you find out? If you don't mind me asking, how did you find out? Did you find out through your phone, or did somebody tell you?
I think it was a text, but somebody commented on one of my posts today, and it was like said, "Did Ozzy die?" I'm like, huh? Because it was on my I was at Kohl's the other day, and there was this car in the handicap spot with a license plate that said "Dio Forever." So I took the picture with the horns, and somebody commented on that.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, huh? That was early this morning. I'm like, nah, what the fuck are you talking about? Then all of a sudden
Yeah.
I got a text and I saw it online. I'm like, oh wow, this is fucking Israel. How'd you find out?
My girlfriend, because she's addicted to social media, is always sort of like my go-to. Ever since Robin Williams, when Robin Williams passed away, I was so angry that my phone told me and not somebody, like word of mouth. I didn't hear it from somebody.
Right.
Um, it upset me that a piece of technology, like because I remember when growing up, I remember when somebody who was, somebody that we looked up to, or whether it be an actor, an actress, a sports figure, whoever it was, when that person passed away, there was a sort of like an instant comfort and an instant sort of connection that you had with somebody when they told you
Yeah.
that somebody that you admired had passed away. And I was so angry that my phone told me about Robin Williams that I never kind of wanted to go through that again. And luckily, my girlfriend does not put her goddamn phone down. So every time something happens, it's like, dude, I don't even think the body was cold yet. And she was already like, did you hear that Ozzy Osbourne died? And for how much it was jarring to hear, especially after we just went through Malcolm Jamal Warner
Right.
just a couple of days ago. And then they always say it comes in three. For me, my dog Paul passed away last Monday, a week
Oh,
from yesterday, and then now you
brutal.
got. And then you got Ozzy, and then I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. Listen, we're good, man. I don't need any
Right.
more. This was a tough enough one as it is. I mean, Ozzy alone would have been a tough one, man, just because
Right.
man, like he's one of those guys. And at 76, you think about it. My grandfather passed away at 73. And I remember thinking when I was 17, when he passed away, I'm like, 73 is so old. And that was in 1998. And now we're staring at, guys that are 73. Like there's somebody in my family, 73, who does
Yeah.
Ironmans, and he does like two or
Right.
three a year. So when you hear that Ozzy passes away at 76, you go, and the fact that it was what, less than 2 weeks ago, they just had the final show and everybody was
Right.
there. Like, what a
Right.
great send off! But man, it was a tough one to hear this morning for
Dude,
sure.
I tell you what, you talk about the social media thing, and especially there's a lot of people that hear about deaths on social media that are like in the family, they
Hmm.
because it's here. I'll give you an example. I was a host on the Def Leppard cruise almost 10 years ago, and Last in Line was playing that, which is Dio's band with Andrew Freeman singing, and Jimmy Bain passed away on the boat, and
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
I was actually almost quoted on TMZ. It says karaoke host. It didn't say who it
Karaoke
was.
host.
Karaoke host.
Wow.
But
Okay.
people were coming up to me saying it's on Facebook. Jimmy Bain died. I'm like, how is it there? I mean, it's just happened. I mean, I didn't know about it,
Hmm.
and I remember one of my bosses was in the crowd during karaoke, and I went up to him like, "Do I say something?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Well, it's on Facebook. What am I supposed to do?" He just kind of
Hmm.
nodded. It's like, do it, Then I have like a bunch of
Yeah.
musicians looking at me going, "No, no,"
Mm.
but fucking, I was
Yeah.
drunk, so
How
there it
weird
went.
would that be if you were like, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry to tell you that Jimmy has passed away. It was unceremoniously. It's going to be tough. We're going to have to move on without him. Cheryl, here comes Cheryl with the Bengals. Come on, Cheryl.
that
I'm
was
just like,
that
thanks,
was
guys.
pretty much
Sign up
it.
at the booth. Yeah, it was. Yeah, that would be tough, man. Yeah,
It
yeah.
was oh shit! I forgot to do this at the top of the show. This is a very important part of the show. I usually do this in the words of my close personal friend Stone Cold Steve Austin, but today I'm gonna do it as Ozzy. Gonna crack one for the working man, man. And gonna crack one for
What is
Ozzy.
that? What are
It's
you
a
drinking?
natty
What
light.
is that?
It's a natty light.
Okay, all right.
Na- You've never had a natty light?
No, dude, I'm from northern Minnesota. Of course, I've had a natty
Okay, I was
light.
gonna say,
Course,
but
that was that's what they gave out at high school graduation. They give you a diploma and a natty light. Crack that
it's
thing
so
open,
good.
you shotgun them in the parking lot.
Uh,
Yeah.
you, I don't know if you know this, Rudy, and obviously gonna get into Ozzy, but Natty Light, one of the beer guys told me this. When Natty Light came out, it was supposed to be a top tier beer, but they had nothing to put up against the shitty cheap beers. So that's why it went down as a shitty cheap beer, but it's really a premium beer. So cheers.
Mm. I don't know where to go with that.
I
'Cause I
Just
feel like
information.
I feel like Natty Light that I mean, I gotta wonder what it came in like. What was the can before that? Like, what did it look like? What was it? How are they trying to market it? Because you can buy a cube of that stuff for like $8.75. So how the hell were they trying to market that as a
Well,
premium beer? For God's sakes!
they didn't. That's what they were going to do. And then he said, then they realized, oh shit, they have all these cheap beers. We have nothing to go in that category. We're going to put this down there.
Oh, well, if that's the case, then I'm pissed off at other premium beers because if it costs if it costs the same amount for Natty Light to be produced and they sell it at $10 for a cube of it, or they sell it at $17 a 6 pack, I'm pissed at other
Yeah.
premium beers who are selling me $17. Like, dude, like I bought a 4 pack of beer the other day, $17. 17. I was like, that is because they didn't have
It's
a
so
price
dumb.
on it. Yeah, so I walk up to the counter and I throw it down, and the guy goes, like, whatever. It came to like 17.27. I was like, I'm just buying one.
Yeah.
One, I'm buying a 1 4 pack. And he goes, yeah, it's 17. I was like, no beer is worth that. No beer is worth
No.
that. Like, I don't think, ice fishing growing up, I don't think we spent $17.50 on an entire weekend worth of beer. So how?
No.
Yeah. So, anyways, what was Ozzy's beer of choice? Did he have a beer?
I don't know. I think he was a booze guy. I
Yeah,
think
he's a red wine guy, wasn't he? A wine guy, wasn't that
wine
his thing?
guy. Well, I mean, you saw you've seen Decline of Western Civilization Part
Yeah,
Two when he's in
yeah,
his kitchen. He's making fucking eggs and pouring his pouring his vodka. But I don't
dude.
know. I don't know.
Huh.
It's just I tell you what though. I mean, I am honestly surprised that he made 76. Because I
Yeah,
mean,
that's a guy who should have kicked off years ago. I mean, dear God. I mean, and you look at the people that were still hanging on to late in life, and you're like, dude, Mitch McConnell, dude, you're still around. Like,
yeah,
man,
right,
when's this guy gonna kick off? Because
right. Oh,
how do guys like that outlast guys like Ozzy, man? You
I know.
know?
Well, no, I mean, look at these guys that are still. Lemmy was what 69 when he passed, and I was,
Hmm.
or did he hit 70? I think it was 69. But you got Keith Richards still out there.
Dude.
These guys that just destroyed their bodies, and some continue to, and still fucking are still kicking. And you got, you guys that die while jogging that are 37
Yeah,
years old.
absolutely. Yeah. I was where was I? I was traveling recently. I was on tour. I went to a bar, maybe Northern California somewhere, but they were playing a Stones concert. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, what is this? Is this live? This must have been like a couple days ago, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
Dude, that concert was like 22 years ago. And I'm like,
yeah,
those guys look exactly the same. They
yeah,
still look, they look like, I swear to God, like those guys reached the age of like 65 and then have never aged a day since. Like I look at Mick Jagger now and I'm like, dude, you look younger now than you did when you were dancing with Bowie.
yeah. We try to block that out of our memory.
It was a rough time for
Oh
music,
my
wasn't
God, dude.
it?
I remember I went to see Back to the Future how many times in the theater. And when you went to see Back to the Future, you had to watch that fucking video because it was before the movie.
Really?
Oh
Wow.
yeah.
Huh.
It was so bad that I remember my mom was so happy when it came out on VHS. And the only place you could get it was McDonald's. So I got my copy of Back to the Future on VHS at McDonald's. You know what was on there? That fucking video. You couldn't get away from it.
Wow. No kidding. I didn't know
And
that.
it's just ingrained in my head. It's like I hear it and I get fucking
Yeah.
flashbacks and I want to like jump off
What,
a bridge or something.
speaking of duets, what was the best and worst duet Ozzy had?
Mm. Well, I mean, the best one is obviously Close My Eyes Forever.
Obviously, that is number one. That's a banger of a song. That song is so damn good.
Yeah.
I was driving to Chicago, and I don't know. You ever run into the gals from Vixen?
I am friends with them, yes.
Get out, dude. So some of them
Yeah.
gals are from La Crosse, Wisconsin,
Well,
and I was
the only gal that's left from the original band is Roxy, the drummer. So
Oh, right
Janet,
on.
Janet is the one from Lacrosse. She was the
Okay.
singer. She was my Vixen crush. Cher is married to Bam Ross, who's a famous drummer, and they live in Florida. And the Janet, I can't remember the guitar player. The guitar player passed away, like brain cancer or something fucked up like
Hmm.
that. But
She
um,
literally closed her eyes forever.
yeah, literally. But,
No,
but
I was doing like a all female 80s rock drive playlist, just and that song came on, and I went back, I listened to it 3 or 4 times, and just because Ozzy had a couple of duets in there where he would team up with somebody. His stuff with Rob Zombie was okay.
yeah,
It
oh,
was
dude,
fine.
Lemmy,
Yeah, yeah.
I ain't no
Some of the
nice
stuff.
guy.
Yeah, some of the stuff was good. So it was fine, but Close My Eyes Forever is obviously number one. If you gotta put a stamp on the worst song featuring Ozzy, it's when him and Cold Chamber did Shock the Monkey. That song is absolute garbage and dribble. The original wasn't even that great, but the fact that
Right.
they did that song, that reminded me of we don't need Dancing in the Streets. We don't need. I didn't need it. I didn't like the original. I don't need at the cover. I'm fine with where it is. Just leave it where it is. I didn't like Shock the Monkey. I don't need Ozzy and Cold Chamber doing that song together.
Right.
Leave it where it was. But Close My Eyes Forever, man. That is one of those you can literally. I mean, that goes on every single playlist that I
Yep.
have. Whether it comes to like the gym playlist, whether it comes to like my pre-show playlist, whatever it is, it's on there. It's a
You have a
great song.
ballad on your pre-show and your gym playlists?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But I also because like I like the highs and the lows, man. Like my pre-show it'll have Ozzy and Lita, it'll have the Goodyear Pimps, it'll have Paul Simon, it'll have Elvis, it's got Ice Cube. I just like the fact that it kind of goes all over the place.
Okay.
That because my act is a little bit like that. There's times where my act I need to go really high energy and then I need to bring it down. And
Yeah.
then I go high energy and I need to bring it down. So if I'm doing like 10 minutes and it's just if I'm hosting and I got to go out there and just do a blistering 10-minute set, I'll usually try to keep the pace of the playlist up a little bit higher. But yeah, for the most part, I try to get some of those jams. And I don't know. I was on the way up to my cabin. I'm in northern Minnesota, and I was on my way up here. And while I was driving, turned on a couple of Ozzy songs, and just man, like to be a part of that lineage of history of music. I mean, that guy lived 1,000 lifetimes in
Yeah.
this industry,
Yeah.
and just the small interactions that I ever had with the guy. I interviewed him twice.
Yeah.
One time in studio, one time over the phone, and there was something about him that he made you kind of feel like. And I didn't get a chance to interview Ozzy until later, until like
Right.
the first time I ever interviewed him. I think the Osbournes just
Okay.
was just coming off the air, or like maybe like mid series, because I got the version of Ozzy that was a little bit more subdued and a
Hmm.
little bit more willing to play the game, because Sharon was like, "Hey, we got this reality show and it's kicking ass. Don't go in there
Hmm.
and fuck this up." So I kind of got that version of Ozzy. He was, obviously he cursed every other word,
Of course.
but I feel like I got a different version of, like, I remember when I interviewed Sean from Slipknot. I had watched a bunch of old videos of him doing interviews, and I'm like, oh, is this guy gonna come in here and just be an asshole? Like, I don't want to deal with, like, I'm not that guy. I'm not a
Yeah.
shock jock kind of guy. I just
Right.
like to
Right.
sit and chat. And then he came into the studio, and he was the super calm. He was very calm. He was very relaxed. He was very nice to talk to. And then after we turned the mics off, I said, I got to be honest, I was a little nervous coming into today because I saw some of the other interviews that you've done. And he's like, that was old me. He's like, that was me trying to be young, trying to be a rock star, trying to put
Yep.
my name out there. And now I'm just trying to because at the time he was doing a band called White Rabbits, Young White Rabbits, White Young
I don't
Rabbits,
don't
something like
recall
that. Yeah,
that.
it was a thing. He was doing it on the Warp Tour,
Okay.
and he was just a different version of him. So there's a part of me that is a little upset that I missed both of those guys during their heyday, because for how much I enjoyed that conversation with both Sean and Ozzy, I kind of wish that one of them would have thrown a goddamn television out the window.
Well, yeah, because you want You want your TikTok moment. Kidding, of course.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. You want the story,
yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but I could
Yeah.
I could rather enjoy an older Ozzy interview because now you're talking to somebody who's a grandpa, you know, and just
Yeah. Yep.
getting the stories, instead of, having wild fucking drunk Ozzy, you got somebody who's coherent-ish and able to tell these stories because he's somebody that's been there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was, I didn't necessarily love the movie all that much, but the Motley Crue biopic,
Uh-huh.
when that I forget that kid's name. He was in Righteous Gemstones. Tony Cavalera. I can't. I'm spacing on it. I'm thinking of Max Cavalera, but Tony something. He was in Righteous Gemstones, but he plays Ozzy in the film, and they they reenact the scene. Did you ever see the movie?
Of course. Of
Yeah,
course.
it's
I only
great. But
saw it
they
once
reenact
though.
the
I only
scene.
watched it once.
Yeah, I agree. I watched it once. I was like, I don't need any more. I
Well, I've
got what
read
I
the
needed
book.
out of it. It was fine.
I
Yeah.
read the book. Did you read the book?
No, no,
Oh, dude.
I'm not a reader. Ugh,
I'm
I
not
can't.
either. But when
I'm
I
a
used to be
watcher.
able to sit down and read, dude, that book, there is shit in that book that was not in the movie. Like, for instance, Mick Mars, because the book is like put each chapter is a different member of the band, and sometimes like Doc McGee, and it just jumps all over the place, right? Mick Mars is talking about the night that Vince killed Razzle, the drummer from
Hmm.
Hanoi Rocks, and they were at the party, and Mick was feeling down because he was all fucked up, and he decided, well, nobody gives a fuck about me. I'm just gonna walk into the ocean and die. So he walked into the ocean, and he came to after he washed up on shore and walked up to the sliding glass window and saw everybody was just this is just after the accident happened. So everybody's all sad inside. And he thinks, oh my God, they're actually sad about me. This, I feel, oh my God, what did I do? And he thinks he's a ghost. So he tries to walk through the plate glass window and knocked himself out.
Wow,
Yeah.
I've never heard that story. Holy
Fucking
shit, I've never
gold.
heard that story. That is
That's my favorite
insane.
story in the whole book. Yeah.
Wow, I never knew that. That's crazy, man, dude. Yeah, it takes a special kind of narcissist to be able to pull off something like that. And that's funny
Right.
that because of every member of that band, I feel like that would be the one guy that he seemed to be like a little bit more. He's just a little bit older than everybody
Yeah.
else,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he was already in his 30s by the time he hooked up with Tommy and them guys. So
Yep.
they were pups. So that's that he would be that guy to do that. Was was anybody from Motley Crue? Were they a part of the last Ozzy show? I don't remember seeing any of those guys on the
No,
playlist there
no,
on the list. No,
they weren't. They weren't. Did you
no.
watch any of that?
I mean, I can't imagine that. I did a little bit. Yeah, I caught a couple clips here and there, and then I watched a couple of the longer clips I saw on YouTube. Um, Seemed cool. The Smashing Pumpkins thing would have been great to witness. Like when Billy Corgan came out and they had kind of an all-star group going on,
Yeah.
and that would have been fun to watch. But I think it just for whatever reason, it just like even I brought it up to a friend of mine who's like a big Ozzy fan, and I was
Mhm.
like, oh, thank God they had the send off show, like the last show ever, and he was like, what are you talking about? It's like, do you not follow? Well, I mean, dude, it was everywhere. It wasn't, well, not for me. I'm like, that's crazy
Wow.
because I felt like
Yeah, yeah.
it was kind of everywhere. So
Look, I tell you what though, I mean the way that he was able to do that, and obviously it's sad that he passed, but thank God that that show happened. You had a chance to say goodbye. That should send a message to the fucking Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because they've got all these people that have died that are not in there, and they got people that are still alive that should be in there, and now maybe it's like, maybe we should do this while they're still here.
yeah,
I mean,
well, I don't know. They got to make way for Shaka Khan and whatever other
yeah, right.
bullshit they got to put in it's funny because that was like such a thing that Sharon was so angry about and just, really like kind of like
Mhm.
wanted to put her stink on the fact that he was getting snubbed by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And it was like, why do you care so much? Why do you care
Right,
so
right.
much that it's a shell of a thing that it used to be and no one gives a shit about it anymore?
Mhm.
And I do that with comics a lot too, where they get angry about, like I didn't get booked on this or this, blah blah blah. And I'm like, why do you care? Like,
Right.
this is it's not what it used to be. It's not a thing where you're like, it's not going to help your career anymore.
Oh,
I
you're
see a
talking
lot of
like
these.
late night shows?
Yeah, a lot of late night shows. You see like, yeah, like, oh, I didn't get a Colbert, I didn't get a blah blah blah, and it was like, dude, I don't think anybody cares or watches that stuff
Right.
anymore. Oh, I didn't get a dry bar. It's like, dude, make your own way.
Yeah.
And that was kind of always the thing that you got to love the most about Ozzy was that even though he didn't have like the stamp of approval from some certain places or some certain industries or some certain Hall of Fames, whatever it is,
Mhm.
he had an audience and he was a hell of
Right.
a showman, and people,
Right.
that's what they gravitated towards, and they didn't give a
Right.
shit about the fact that he wasn't in the Hall of Fame. Who cares? Your legacy proves that you were definitely worthy of it, but why do you give a shit that you weren't in it? I think if anything, it was like Sharon's ego, the fact that she was trying to do this thing and they said
Mhm.
no, so she was gonna come hell or high water, she was gonna make it happen.
Right. Do you have a favorite Ozzy record, either with Sabbath or solo? Because I don't know if you knew this. Today is actually the anniversary of No More Tears.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I would probably say, just because my first introduction into Ozzy was probably like, that was the thing. Like, I was just kind of like, not my first introduction, but the record that I really, really loved the most, because I was a little too young for Sabbath.
Right.
And
Same.
so probably, yeah, I would probably say No More Tears. Just like, I love the songs on it. They were big radio hits. I played them nonstop,
Right.
between when I got first started doing classic rock and then moving into rock radio. It was nonstop. And I think it was really like the first album that I saw him do like the first time I saw Ozzy live, he did a significant amount of songs off that album. So I love it. I do have a funny, it's not really necessarily my story. I just love the story that this was at 93X in Minneapolis. It was
Mhm.
not, it was 1997. I think it was 97, the first year of Ozfest. Ozfest is at the Metrodome. A friend of mine is an intern at the radio station, and it's Ozfest Day, and they're bringing listeners back to go see Ozzy. They got a meet and greet lined up. You win tickets, they bring you back. There's a dude who's in line to meet Ozzy, and this guy is losing his shit.
Mhm.
He's in line. He's like, "I love you, Ozzy." Like, he's freaking, and everybody. I mean, there's been 200 people in this meet and greet, and everyone's like, "Jesus, dude, settle down." And finally, yeah, they're in the back of the Metrodome, and Ozzy walks out, and the whole place goes bananas. Oh shit, people! And this guy is just screaming, like he won't stop. And you could tell he was very annoying to other people. And he's waiting 15, 20 minutes to get his 8x10 signed. And Ozzy can certainly hear this guy, but he's not
Yeah.
acknowledging him. And Ozzy's just got it. He's clearly hungover. He's clearly probably, fucked up. He's trying to write his shit before he has to go on stage after that
Right.
night.
Right.
And he's like not looking at anybody, and he's just signing 8x10s, and he's just moving them along, moving them along. Guy comes up, sets the 8x10 in front of Ozzy, and he goes, Oz, Oz, I'm the biggest fan of all time. Look at this. And he pulls his shirt up, and he has the entire album cover of Blizzard of Oz tattooed on his back. His
Wow.
whole back is covered in it. And Ozzy is signing his 8x10, and he looks up, and all he says is, "Where the fuck did you get that tattooed on you? It's the worst fucking album I ever made." And then goes back to signing, and he just pushes it along. Can you
Oh
imagine
my
your whole back?
God.
You've dedicated your life to Ozzy Osbourne, and the only thing he has ever said is how much he hates your tattoo and the album that it was dedicated to. Dude, that is the epitome of, to me, that is the epitome of Ozzy Osbourne and
Hold
why I
on,
love
time
him
out.
so
Let's
much.
let's go to the main jugular here. Now, which album did you say it was Diary?
No, it's Blizzard of Oz.
Blizzard of Oz. And he says that's the worst fucking album I've ever made.
Mm-hmm. It's the worst fucking album I ever made. Yeah.
He had to have
Hilarious.
been fucking with them. He had, because there's no way.
I don't know, but I think, to me, that is the funniest fucking thing
Oh,
I've ever
dude,
heard in
it's
my life.
fucking
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
It had to have been fucking with him.
Yeah,
Had
I
to have
mean,
been
for a
fucking
guy,
with him.
yeah, I would like to think that. I would also like to think that in a moment of just like clarity of just listening to some asshole just scream the entire time, Ozzy
Yeah,
was like, just came out of his fucking coma long enough to go, oh, fuck off, dude. That is my favorite Ozzy story, man. That is
that is.
so funny, dude. Yeah,
Yeah. He
we
had.
got
He
like,
had.
yeah,
He had to have been fucking with him. I'm breaking this down too
yeah,
much because it's Randy. It's fucking. Oh, dude. It's. I don't know. It's. Yeah. He's fucking with him. He's
yeah.
fucking with him.
But yeah, but dude, he was always like, I had made a comment to him during the over the phone interview that I did with him. We were talking about the time him and Zach Wild threw a couple of TVs out of a window. And I think that happened in was it was it Europe? Was it Paris? I can't remember what he said, but we were chatting about it, and I said you got a couple of more windows in you, or a couple of more TVs in you, Oz. Could you throw a couple more out the window? And he goes, those days are over. And I said, well, what if I was a kid with cancer? You don't play baseball. What if I was a kid with cancer and I asked you to hit me a home run, but I can't? So I asked you to throw a TV out the window, and he goes, "I'd do fucking 10 for you." And I was like, "Yeah, you would. You would. You'd throw
That's
10 of them
fucking
out the
great.
window for me, you son of a bitch." Yeah, fun guy though, man. It was great because he was the in studio time was about 18 months before the phone interview that I did with him. So he came into
Okay.
the studio, and when he came in, um you could tell he was tired. It was tour times, Sharon
Hmm.
was propping him up, and you could tell he was like, I don't want to do this. And he kind of came in. He wasn't like, being a sourpuss, but you could definitely tell he was like, I just want to get this done. And I
Right.
thought,
Right.
let's just hurry this thing along. And so in my mind, I'm like, all right, they said we have 15 minutes. He's got a hard out at 15 minutes. I'll do him a solid and start to wrap this up at 10. We'll get him out at 12. We'll play an extra song.
Yeah.
Then he can go. And I'm not shitting you, Izzy. I mean, he looked like death ran his ass over. And the second the on-air light came on, dude just brought it completely one
I was
thousand.
gonna ask that. I was gonna ask
Yeah,
that if there was like if once he has to be on, he's on.
yeah. The second that light came on, I was like, hey, it's 93X, Minnesota's 93X. Hey, don't forget tonight happening in Ozzy Osbourne. And like I was getting mid sentence, he's like, go crazy. And Rudy and Minneapolis go crazy. And it was like, fuck. I was like, you literally look like a bag of smashed assholes 9 seconds ago. And now you're bringing the heat. And that was the thing, man. Like he took pictures, and I'm not kidding you, dude. He was literally like standing in line in front of the sign, and people were, like they'd come up to like get a picture, and he'd like grab somebody's hair, and he'd bite,
Yeah.
he'd do the whole thing. And then the second they were like, all right, time to go, his shoulders just shrunk, and he was like, okay. And he just kind of sauntered
Yeah.
out the door. But the guy, he knew how to bring the show. Like, like that is the thing with sometimes, you see a lot of people, especially like actors. I always think about like Jonah Hill, where I'm like,
Mhm.
why are you that grumpy all the time? It's
Right.
your job to put a smile on. Ozzy knew how to put a smile on.
Yep.
You have the rest of the day to be a fucking bump on the log. But for that short amount of time that people
Yep.
are there, just try to put your best face on,
Exactly. No, it's funny. Eddie Trunk has this great story because Eddie Trunk signed Ace Frehley to Megaforce, and they were out doing interviews, and it was all day, all over New York. Ace is shithoused, and they had one more interview to go, and Ace is just in the limo, and Ace just kind of looks at it and goes, "Fish sandwich," and Eddie goes, "What? What? Two McDonald's fish sandwiches." He's out. So they go through the fucking drive through. He has two McDonald's fish sandwiches, and all of a sudden, boom, it was like a bag of cocaine hit him.
Sure.
And he went and he had the best interview of the whole day. It's
Yeah.
just so wild. It's just so
Yeah,
wild.
that's part of the deal that I don't think enough people get credit for. That yeah, it's one thing to be able to be in a band and you can play your guitar, your instrument, whatever it is, but I don't think there's enough people that get credit for the guys that can really turn it on. Jack Black is a guy that can really turn it on. Um, there's a singer by the name of Louis Capaldi. I don't know if you know that guy's name. He's if you heard a couple of his songs, you go, I know who that guy is. But
Yeah.
I interviewed him, and he's a guy that can definitely turn it off and on when he needs to.
Mhm.
Paul Rubens was actually really good about it.
I
Paul
could
Rubens was, for the
I could
most
see
part,
that.
he never dropped the character. When he was out, very seldom would he ever drop the character. But every now and again, like I got a friend of mine who worked for Mancow in Chicago,
He's still
and
on.
I don't think so. I don't know what happened to that guy, but Paul Rubens was in studio, and he's like, la, 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 connected, da, da. And then like they go to commercial. He's like, oh, Jesus, man, I can't wait to get back to LA. Oh my God, I am so tired. And then like they crank the microphones on again, and he's like, la, 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 Stevie's Playhouse.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
like you said, it's just what it's like. It's in the DNA, and they know they got to do it, and they do it,
Yeah.
and they just pull it off. How many times did you see Ozzy? I saw him once, and I saw him on the No More Tours tour. That would have been June 26th, 1992, at the Target Center with
Yeah.
with Slaughter and Ugly Kid Joe.
Oh no shit, Ugly Kid Joe, dude. Yeah, man. God, UKJ. Love those guys. I'd have to think about it. So I saw, let's see. So I saw Ozfest 98. That was the
Mhm.
big one. That was Tool, Slayer, Snot, Limp Bizkit, Kilgore, Cold Chamber, System of a Down. Ozzy, obviously. I saw them the next year, and was it the next year or the year after that? I think it might have been the year after that. Maybe it wasn't 99, but it was 2000. And that's the year where it got super mainstream. That's the year where they
Yeah.
brought out like Papa Roach. It was
Mhm.
like, what are we doing here, you guys? This is not,
Yeah. Right.
no, Papa, what? Get out of here with
This
this.
is my
No.
last hit
Yeah,
song.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was like Papa Roach and Linkin Park, who I really like Linkin Park. But I was the whole lineup that year. I was like, ugh, this is brutal. I saw so definitely those two times. I saw him on the Merry Mayhem tour in Madison, Wisconsin with Rob Zombie. I saw him with Sabbath at the Target Center in Minneapolis. That was when, oh, what's his name? John, except for the T, Tempenstra? I'm going to screw this up. He was drumming for Black Sabbath at the time.
Oh, Tempest.
Yeah, yeah, because there was the dude, I think he played for Faith No More back in the day, if I remember correctly. Maybe I'm screwing that up. I can't remember. But then I also saw him again one more time with Rob Zombie. So I probably at least about five times, maybe five, maybe
Okay.
six times. There was probably, yeah. Um,
Yeah, it's weird 'cause I think every time when I was on Rockin' 101, I don't think he ever came through when I was with Rockin' 101. So I wouldn't
oh,
have
really?
had, yeah. God, did he? No, I don't think so. Cause I think I would have probably went. But obviously we're in St. Cloud, you're in Minneapolis, you're going to have more access, but,
Yeah.
and more tickets cause you're
Ye-
93X and we're a tiny
Yeah.
little station out of St. Cloud.
Of all those shows, yeah, I think the Merry Mayhem tour in Madison was probably my favorite. Uh, you know, uh, Ozfest was great just because, you got to see all the bands I really wanted to see.
Yeah.
Seven Dust, Snot, Cold Chamber, great. That was fine. Ozzy was awesome. Zach Wilde gets up, he rips it, phenomenal.
Yep.
But I think that Merry Mayhem tour may have been my favorite because it was December, it was Madison, it was State Street. It was, we were down there. It was, and Madison's a magical town in the wintertime. I love it there. And then we went to the show, which was at, I can't, Dane County Coliseum. Was that what it was called? Dane County? But we go to the show and I can't remember. I feel like Videodrome may have opened that show, if I remember correctly. And then Rob Zombie came out, kills, but then Ozzy comes out, and when he comes out, they have a giant sleigh that Ozzy is riding in, and
Oh,
it's
that's funny.
circling around the arena, like on a pulley system, and he's got on this black Santa suit, and he's like throwing T-shirts and stuff out
Yeah.
of the sleigh, and then it lands on stage, and man, that show ripped. That was probably the most fun show I've seen. That was probably the best, just because I had great seats for it. It was a little more intimate, the that I don't know if you want to call it it's not really a stadium. It's an arena, but it's not quite like a 17,000 seater. It's like a 14 or 13,000 seater. It's a little smaller, I think.
Is it where
And
like
it was great.
yeah, it's like where the hockey team plays, the college hockey team?
Yeah, it might be. I don't know if the college hockey team. I remember going to a couple basketball games there for sure. So maybe it was, but maybe the hockey team plays there as well. So it's a little bit smaller, but it was great. It was. I think that was probably the best time for sure. I remember he played Halloween Night. That Rob Zombie Ozzy tour was Halloween Night. That was downtown Minneapolis, man, and like the freaks on the light rail that night
Oh,
was,
I can
man, that was a
just
blast.
imagine.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. It was like, are you guys going to the show, or were you with a bunch of serial
Yeah,
killers?
right.
You couldn't tell. It was pretty wild. It was fun, man. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So just those couple of times, just the one time you saw
Just
Ozzy,
the
just the
one
one, huh?
time, just the one time.
Oh
And I only
wow.
saw I
Yeah.
saw Sabbath once, and that was when it was called Heaven and Hell with Dio, because
Oh
they couldn't
yeah, was that the
call
Target
Sabbath.
Center?
Target Center. It was them and
Yeah, I
Megadeth
saw that.
and
W-
uh
Yes. Oh, I remember Dio got so pissed because somebody threw a beer cup up on
yeah, it was
stage, and
like
he
three
lost his
songs in.
shit. Yeah, he lost his
Lost his
shit. He
shit.
was like, "We are not a trash can."
And that was
Have
the
you
only
seen
time I
this
ever saw
audience?
Dio. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
that was my only time too. Yeah, yeah, yep,
yeah. Do you have a favorite
yeah,
Ozzy guitar
dude.
player?
I mean, it's hard to beat Randy. Hard to
Yeah,
beat Randy, but I think only because I've met him a few times. I've had some great interactions with him. I mean, Zach Wild is
yeah. Zach is,
obviously just,
yeah,
yeah,
phenomenal.
dude. Yeah, just phenomenal. Uh Jakey Lee, there was a couple guys in the mix that were cool, but um
Well, I mean, like Brad
I
Gillis
think
was in it for just a cunt
yeah,
hit right after
yeah.
Randy passed. But I mean, Jake was fun. Have you met Jake out here in Vegas?
No,
He lives out
does he
here.
live in Vegas? No
Yeah, yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Really? I
He
didn't know
came
that.
to
Yeah.
uh he came to one of our shows at Vamped, and I'm like out of tune, and I can just
Yeah. No,
hear it, and I look over like,
I
oh,
remember
great.
the Ozfest Guitar World issue that came out, and it had a bunch of it was basically showcasing all the guitarists from
Yeah,
Ozfest that year of '98, and I remember reading about him, and I think they had a tab. It may have been No More Tears, may have been the tab that they had in Guitar World that for that issue. But yeah, I always thought he was good. But I mean, Zach is just when him and Ozzy hooked up, man, like that
yeah.
was to me that is yeah. I mean, Randy is obviously number one, but I mean, a close second has got to be Zach Wild, and the
Well,
fact
I mean, there's a lot of
like
people. There's a lot of people that would put fucking Tony. I mean, because
sure, yeah, yeah.
I mean, it
Um,
really that started fucking heavy metal music.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you had to, if I had to say which guitarist, I would only say with Ozzy's solo stuff. I
Okay,
would have to,
okay.
but yeah, I mean, Sabbath, dude, is I remember the first time listening to Sabbath and hearing War Pigs and just going, what is this? This is
Yeah,
insane. And even the stuff that is supposed to scare you, like a Rob Zombie song, didn't
right.
connect with me as much as Black Sabbath did. Like that was, man, dude. So if it wasn't for Tony getting his fingers chopped off, dude, we wouldn't. None
Right.
of that sound would. It would have maybe
Exactly.
came around, but it wouldn't have sounded the way that it did. Yeah, and seeing Sabbath a couple of times that I did, I'm so glad that I had a chance. I saw the whole foursome once,
Oh, nice.
which was great. Yeah, it was young. I was really young in radio. I saw the whole foursome together. I can't remember where that was. East Coast, maybe East Coast. But I also saw him with John, and then I also saw. I think
John
I saw.
Tempesta. John
Yeah,
Tempesta.
Tempest. Yeah, I think I saw Ozzy. Not Ozzy. Excuse me. I think I saw. Um, was it Geezer that was married to the gal from Drain STH?
I don't know, but if he was, good for him because there's definite age gap
Yeah,
there.
definitely an age gap. I can't remember if it was him or not, but one of them played. I think it was Geezer. I think he came up on stage because I saw Drain STH. They were awful, by the way. They were so bad.
Eh,
It's one of the worst shows I've ever seen in my life. There's a reason why they only had one album. Um, but yeah, think about like all the bands. I was with a very famous comedian one night, and somebody who was like out with us had made a comment. I'll never forget this. And made a comment, and the person was kind of kissing the guy's ass a little bit, and the guy goes, man, just thank you so much, man. I just I don't know where I would be without you. And the guy goes, well, I know where I would be without you. I'd be exactly where I am right now. I
right,
would
right,
be
right.
here. I don't know where you would be without me, but I know I would be. He was kind of ribbing him a little bit, but it was
Yeah.
very true. And I think about that with Ozzy a lot. I was thinking about that on my drive today, about all of the bands that, especially like through Ozfest, that just kind of came and went. Like there was a band that I saw on Ozfest called Push Monkey. I don't know who knows
Never heard of
if
him.
those guys were even, they may have just formed in the parking lot and got on stage. I don't know how these guys got onto Ozfest. Their music was terrible. The showmanship was garbage. I'm like, I don't know how these guys did it, but there's a part of me that thought all those guys were probably thinking today who were in that band, man, thanks to Ozzy, we got a chance to do Ozfest. And if you asked Ozzy, what do you think about that band called Push Monkey? Ozzy would go, I don't know, fucking what a dumb
I don't
name.
know.
I
They
don't know who the fuck.
oh, they paid us about $17,000 just to get on the tour.
There was that too. Yeah,
There's
yeah. But there was
that.
a few bands, yeah. Like there was a couple bands that came through that I really liked that I thought could have gone a little bit further. Like I really liked a band called Pooh that was on Ozfest. They were like they were from Puerto Rico and they only had two radio stations that could reach Puerto Rico from Miami. It was a Puerto Rican like dance station and a heavy metal station. So these dudes, all they
Wow.
did was grow up on like Puerto Rican dance music and Pantera. But check them out. Like I really loved their first album was really good. I think it was called Oasis, and their first album is great. It had some really good songs. They just never really took off. It was kind of a weird hybrid, But then there was a
Right,
couple
right,
bands in
right.
there too that also could have. Like I really liked Darwin's Waiting Room. I thought that band could have had some potential. There's a couple that kind of sneaked out of there, like Nonpoint became a thing.
I
You
remember
know,
Nonpoint.
yeah, I mean, Kitty, some people might say that their trajectory, they didn't live up to the hype. I thought they were, I still think that that gal, that Morgan Landers and her sister, are pretty good musicians. I think they needed to be surrounded themselves with better
Guys.
artists. Yeah, yeah, there's a little bit of that. I did hear some people that are like were close to the band that this is just a rumor. I don't know if it's happened or not, but there were guys that were engineers on that first album
Mhm.
that they would do an 8-hour session of recording, and then after the girls would leave, the guys would come in and re-record the tracks to get them right. I don't know if that's true, but I'm just saying. But they were young. They were really young. But that
I don't know.
Morgan, I can't.
Well, Rudy, I don't know. Keith Roth is here. He just got off a marathon session on Ozzy's Boneyard,
What's up,
remembering
my
Ozzy.
What's up, my
Um,
dude? How are you, my man?
good to see you, Keith. Meet Rudy Pavich.
Hi,
Rudy, this is
Rudy.
my good friend Keith Roth.
Steve, how are you, buddy?
How you doing, man? Good to
Good,
see
dude.
you.
Good. Yeah, you
You
too.
you have any insight on what he was just talking about?
With Kitty?
Yeah.
No, no.
Okay.
We were discussing some of the bands that I don't know if you heard part of it, Keith, but I was saying that there was a guy that I was a comedian that I was on tour with who's well known, and there was a guy who was kind of kissing his ass, and he goes, "I don't know where I'd be without you," and the guy goes, "Well, I know where I would be. I'd be in the same exact spot." And I was thinking about that with Ozzy, where there were so many bands that came up that just never really quite got off the ground, but he never left, man. It's like he hit that pinnacle and he just never left. So I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know. Yeah,
It,
man.
it's just I guess a weird day, just reflecting.
Yeah. No,
You know,
exactly.
it's like one of those guys that you just thought was larger than life that would always be here. I mean, for me, reality set in when Bowie died, because David Bowie don't die, and then Bowie
Right.
died, and then Lemmy died, or Lemmy died, then Bowie
Yeah.
died, and then it was just like, holy shit. So I mean, but you know what? Even with Ozzy, especially just doing that big benefit. I mean, the big show, the final performance a couple of weeks ago in Birmingham. Maybe he knew something, or maybe they knew something. I really don't know, but it's just incredible. Raising almost $200 million for charity, which I
Yeah.
think
Let's
was,
not forget about that.
yeah. I mean, and going out the way, that final in that town of Birmingham with those guys, closing out that thing. So it's been one of those days. It's been a marathon, and but I'm glad you guys are paying tribute, and the whole Ozfest thing. Yeah, I don't think I've ever gone to an Ozfest. I mean, I've seen Sabbath, with Ozzy when they reunited a few times. I mean, I know one time we were playing at the Court Tavern in New Brunswick, and I know the Pantera guys left Giant Stadium and took a cab to New Brunswick to come see us, which was pretty cool. Little, but I don't think I've ever been to an Ozfest. I mean, I've seen Ozzy so many times, and I've um, seen them when they, Sabbath reunited. But yeah, for some odd reason, I never saw one. But I'm sure that's a whole day, a whole festivity of seeing a lot of unique bands that I've never heard of.
Yeah, that was the thing about being in Minneapolis. We were so fortunate to have Somerset, Wisconsin next to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my first taste of an Ozfest, it was Ozfest Warp Tour on the same day in the same venue. And it
Wow.
was, yeah. So I don't know if you've ever been to Somerset, the Float Right Amphitheater, Keith, but on one side is basically, they have the two stages, they have the large stage and the second stage next to it. But then up on the hill, they got all this room back there. And that's where they put all the trailers from Warp Tour. So you were literally running back and forth. You'd be like, okay, Seven Dust goes on at 12:50, but then No Effects goes on at 1:15. So we got to make our way past the mini donut stand to make sure we get back, because then Snot's going
Wait,
on
how,
at two
how do you not
o'clock.
stop for the mini donuts though?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, no, but it was
Jesus
Now,
insane.
Christ.
Yeah,
well, the weird thing is I have been to a Warp Tour. I mean, because there was
Yeah,
it
me too.
happened in Jersey a couple
yeah,
times, and I've been to Wisconsin and I've been to Minnesota, but I've never been to that venue.
yeah.
But the whole thing with Kitty, what were you guys talking about? I heard something about like someone going into the studio and fixing stuff for them at night or something.
Yeah, that was a friend of mine who was kind of like in the mix with, like more like the promotion marketing side of Kitty when they first came out, was telling us that, the girls would go into the studio and they would record, and then basically they kind of had a few of the engineers who were a part of it. They would wait until the girls would leave, and then they would go in and re-record some of the tracks to fix them, because the playing was so off that they were like, the record label is pumping out so much money into this
Right.
thing, we can't deliver a piece of shit, so we have to do it. And and to their credit, like, I mean, they were young. They probably had a lot of pressure on them. So, but I go back and I can't remember that drummer's name. I know the lead singer was Morgan Landers, but I can't remember her sister's name. She was the drummer, but I follow her on Instagram, and the girl can drum.
Oh
She's a
yeah,
hell of
yeah,
a drummer. Yeah, she's
yeah.
great. And I feel bad that that band didn't get its due. There should have been a little bit more, because they had some good songs, like they could keep, but but that just proves how hard this business is,
Oh, fucking
Oh, well, I
miserable.
mean, that's a whole thing. I mean, and there's a lot of scam to that too. There's the producer guy who's friends with the drummer guy who pays the drummer guy, and then he gets a kickback. A lot of that Hollywood bullshit was going on where certain players were playing on certain records, and then other guys were coming in, but these guys could totally play on their own records. It was like, it was that big '80s thing,
Oh yeah.
ego crushing or '90s crushing.
Right.
I mean, but I mean. I guess that was probably before the days of Pro Tools where they couldn't just copy and paste maybe a good part
There's
and kind
that.
of, build up the track from there.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. Just to move it a little bit this way, move it a little bit that
yeah, yeah,
way.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
man.
mean, now,
Yeah,
I do know a guy that goes in and like certain bands can only play lead stuff, like they can't play rhythm guitar. And I know I can't mention names, but it's like he goes in there and plays rhythm. I mean, and these guys are playing like stadiums, like these bands, but does the rhythm tracks, and then these guys just go in there and do their their shredding and their March of the Bumblebees over. They just have issues playing just rhythm guitar.
Yeah.
And they're aware
Yeah.
that other people are going in and cutting. They don't care. It's weird. It's a
Keith,
whole.
it's so weird. There must be something on your lens because it looks like you have 3 lines of blow over your face, and I'm
Oh,
getting
nice.
kind of excited.
Oh, wait, I do see that. Yeah. Wait, hold
Yeah.
on.
Oh,
Is that
there it
better?
goes. Damn it!
Yeah.
Now it's gone. Oh, there it is. That's gone. Oh, there it is. Okay.
I wonder if it's a scratch.
Yeah, I was
don't
gonna say
know.
it looks like a scratch. Yeah.
It looks like a scratch, but when it was down, it was gone.
Huh.
The farther it
Yeah.
goes up,
Sometimes those lights,
yeah, that's
Yeah,
probably what
maybe.
it is.
I don't want to ruin the whole video for you. Well, yeah, it's not a
No,
scratch.
no, it's not ruined. It's fine.
Okay,
It's
I think
fine.
that.
I mean, it's not like it ruined it. It just,
Yeah, it looks like there's. Yeah, I
it's
see it
just,
though.
just giving me urges. That's all.
It looks like
There was whiskey and cocaine.
it does look
Yeah.
like there's 3 little things cut up rather efficiently
So,
Mhm.
Keith, you just got off the air, right?
a little while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've been talking about Ozzy pretty much all day now.
Well, yeah, me and Jose. Mark Striegel and Jose started, and then he went to go see Ghost at the Garden, and then I jumped in. I was on for several hours. I think the whole tribute was like over almost 7 hours. I think so. It was just a lot of fans calling in, and
cool.
some musicians and things like that. But just having the honors of working under that guy, and he was a really good dude, man. He was a really nice guy. I mean, sure, he's the Prince of Darkness and he had his moments, but he had that legacy and that personality. He was real, and the band, I was a big Sabbath fan growing up, and always loved the band, and it's amazing what he did as a solo artist.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting into the Hall of Fame as just under the Ozzy moniker, and so nothing but positive stuff about him and the whole
so
thing.
fun. I mean, I don't know how well you knew him, but Rudy was talking about, because Rudy used to be on 93X in Minneapolis, and he had Ozzy in studio, and he talked about how he just when he came in, he's like all of a sudden the light goes on and he's fucking Ozzy Osbourne, and did you have that experience with him too, or?
No, I mean, I've interviewed him a few times. I've seen him up
Yeah.
at Sirius. He knew who I am. I knew who he was, and we chatted, and we had some laughs. I mean, the last time I saw him face to face was at Jones Beach. I hosted a show. It was Ozzy and Stone Sour, and right before he went on, they wanted to do a quick interview with me and him, and the typical bullshit. Oh yeah, how long's the tour out? And then we started talking about Abbey Road from the Beatles, and then all of a sudden it's like. And I couldn't, and I know the security team was trying to get in. For some reason, the door locked on the other side. So they're like, they're pounding, and it's almost, the organ music's going on, but he's so into talking about, Abbey Road and the Beatles that it's like he could give a fuck. Yeah, the tour, yeah, the record, the same, but of something of interest, he perks up, and he's, the clarity is a whole different vibe, and he,
Right.
something that that he's interested in. But yeah, he just seemed like a righteous dude. I wasn't around him all the time, but the times that I was around him, I got a kick out of one New Year's Eve though. I did this hard and heavy house party, and it was like a Zoom like this, and I was down in my studio, and Ozzy and Sharon are like zooming, and I just found it hysterical that there's Planet Greer Chef, my studio, and there's kind of like this going on, like, hey, what's that, but yeah, it's a sad day, sad day.
Did you guys do any sort of like deep tracks or anything like that on the air? Like anything that was sort of like a special version of something, or maybe him playing something that wasn't necessarily an Ozzy or Sabbath song?
Well, we did a lot of deep stuff. I mean, but Ozzy's Boneyard, we generally, we were doing a cornucopia. Backstreet Kids, a lot of deep stuff like that. Some of the cover stuff that he's done.
Yeah.
Some stuff from the Back to the Beginning festival in Birmingham. This week we're just playing nothing but Sabbath and Ozzy. Like that's it. Starting like they're re-airing the special now. They started that probably about an hour ago.
Cool.
Yeah, so they're but I think till the end of the week it's just Sabbath and Ozzy. Usually, you'll hear Blue Oyster Cult and Motorhead and Priest and Maiden, but I think it's just Sabbath and Ozzy all the way through. It's just,
Mhm.
I think there's a few of the channels that are only playing Ozzy and Sabbath
yeah.
for the rest of the week.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
he's a rock god.
Yep.
if you could do a guy a favor, go into the system and delete "Shock the Monkey" with him in Cold Chamber, because that song is such garbage. It's so
I,
bad. That is the one cover that I can't stand that he does. For whatever reason, that song drives me insane.
I don't think they've ever played that one. I mean, listen,
No,
as you know, I mean, unless I'm doing my own specialty shows, that that's where I pick the music. But this is we're just kind of steering the ship.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't think that one ever came on our show. The Peter Gabriel cover.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's so bad. It's like, I don't know why they decided to go. There's so many other songs they could have picked, because I like both of those bands individually,
Right.
and
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
why they decided to go with that one. But that song. We were talking, Izzy and I were talking earlier about our kind of favorite duets. It's times he's collaborated, and I don't know. Maybe you're on board with the two of us, but we both said "Close My Eyes Forever" with Lita. That's the quintessential Ozzy, collaboration.
Yeah, I agree. I love what he did with Leslie West too, Mississippi Queen, just because of the
Oh
history.
shit.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, Mountain. I think Sabbath opened for Mountain on their first tour of
Yeah.
America, and so that was a strong bond those guys always had. So for Leslie and Ozzy to get together to cut that was pretty cool. And Dweezil Zappa, right, on Staying Alive, that was another.
Oh
That's
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
right.
right. Yeah, yeah. I
that wasn't
forgot
bad.
about that. Get
Yeah.
that down. Forgot
Yeah,
about that.
that was a fuck. In the words of the great Jim Florentine about Shock the Monkey, there's no reason for that. I ain't gonna do that. Why would you? There's no reason. There's no reason for that. That's brutal.
Yeah.
If you want to hear something amazing, there's this cat out of Brooklyn. He's no longer on the planet, sadly. Charles Bradley. He was a James Brown R&B singer. And then he started. And then in Brooklyn, these producer guys, they started doing original records with him, and he did this version of Changes that is one of the most amazing. I mean, Ozzy and Sharon have heard it, brought him to tears. But if you want to hear something incredible, check out Charles Bradley's version of Changes, which he cut probably 12 years ago, because he passed.
Wow.
Yeah, that's great. Really, really great. And,
Do
he
you have
kind
a-
of started getting his just dessert as an original guy, like probably in his 60s, mid 60s at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah. Where do you think Ozzy's gonna live in infamy with his legacy?
Who, me?
Yeah. Well, either of you.
I mean, I think, 100, 200 years from now. I mean, I think like Morrison, I think like Cobain, I think like, anyone's on the Mount Rushmore of rock idols, Bowie,
Yeah.
Lennon, I think he's going to be right there.
The sad part is that we're running out of them.
I
You
know.
know,
Yeah.
we're gonna eventually. I mean, think of anybody that over the last maybe even 15 years that you go, that person's going to be around for the rest of eternity. We're always going to be talking about them. I mean, Jack White might be up there. I mean, there's a couple of guys
Yeah,
that
but
are still
nobody
coming up
cares
from
about
like the
Jack
90s
White
where you
in
go,
rock and
okay.
roll.
But that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
that he's the closest thing that we have to like an actual real guitar god who's like still putting that stuff out. And I don't know, man. Like we're running out of them. If anything, we're getting more Beyonce's, we're getting more Ed Sheeran's, we're getting those artists that will stick around. But there's, I mean, I don't know. It just feels like it's a dying breed of guys who want to live that lifestyle, and it's
Well, I
sad.
think
It bums me out.
I think the internet kind of destroyed all, the legacy of rock icons, because it was all about the record, right? You make the record.
Right.
What are they doing in the studio? Like, oh, what's going on? All the mystique behind it, and the record was such a big thing, and it was like, the internet, it was like, interviews and magazines. So these guys, they were larger than life. And then, really kind of after Nirvana, everything was kind of, you can Google up, oh, what's Axl Rose? Oh, Axl's at McDonald's, or Axl did this, that whole mystique. And I think that's why a lot of those guys, their legacy was created before the days of the internet, you know, and that's
Well,
why
I think I think another MTV had a lot to do with it too,
yeah,
because even even before Napster, when MTV stopped playing rock and roll and went all fucking rap, there you have another fucking outlet that's gone too.
yeah. Headbangers
Also,
Ball was big, you know, and
ah,
120 Minutes. Both those shows were incredible, you know, for
yeah.
alternative rock and hard rock and heavy metal. Yeah, big, you know,
Ah,
lot of bands were made and broken on those shows.
Oh
Beavis
yeah.
and Butthead too.
yeah, you're right, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're totally right.
yeah.
VH1, I remember watching, I was like 15, and at the time, Motley Crue was the biggest thing in my life. And there was an episode, I don't know what it was, but they showed this thing where like Vince Neil was trying to maybe do like a solo record, and he goes to Desmond Child's studio, and he's recording tracks, and at the end of it, he walks out, and Desmond Child like looks over at like his assistant or something. He's like, "Oh, this is terrible. Like, I don't know how we're gonna clean this up." And then immediately Vince Neil goes to the plastic surgeon to get a facelift.
Oh, that was reinventing Crew. That was when they came back on that reunion tour. The circus one, wherever the fuck they called that. It was 2000, early 2000s.
Was that? Okay, but I thought, yeah, maybe 95, 96 would have been too early. But I remember seeing
Yeah.
that and just going,
And Tommy
"Oh,
Lee wasn't in the band, right? It was the other three.
No, he was. Tommy was,
Yeah.
because
So it was the original four.
that was when they
yeah, yep,
they played at Target Center, and Vince came out of the fucking circus box, and
ah, dude." But I remember watching that and just going, I don't want to see that. You guys are supposed to have pentagrams and strippers. Like, I don't want to see you getting a facelift and having Desmond
Yeah,
Child say that you
right.
suck. Like, no, I mean,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
give me the Crew, you know?
It's like all bands, you know, it's like, okay, you know, the band, you know, they lived together in the same place, you know, they believed in the music. It was all about that, you know,
Yeah.
all bands, right? And then, you know, success and then the drugs, but then like, I don't know, you know, okay, now we're rich as fuck. And like, you know, it's all about going to the golf course and that, like, it's hard to really love records being made by guys that are, you know, sitting at a golf club where, you know, the membership costs, that's what they're doing all day. I mean, there's a legitimacy that's, you know, to me, that's where a lot of those records ended. You know, you'll give them the success, you'll give them the okay,
Yeah.
now they could afford the drugs, but then after that, it's like there's something kind of feels fake to me. It's not
Yeah.
legit.
Well, there's something to be said about bands that didn't reach that level of success
Oh
and
yeah,
are still putting out good music,
yeah.
probably because of like the latest Faster Pussycat stuff that's coming out. It's
Well,
fucking great.
yeah, and those guys are the real deal. They've been
Yeah.
living the same lifestyle or Tammy, you know, since the first album or the second
Yeah.
record. You know, yeah. But I
Exactly.
mean, bands like Cheap Trick is another band.
Oh,
They make amazing records every time they put a record out. It's like, you know, I love it all. Even with Sabbath, you know, people would come down on Never Say Die and Technical Ecstasy. I thought those records were great. You know, they were from that timeline. And it's like, you know, they were still, you know, chasing the dragon, doing their thing. And,
right,
you know, maybe,
right.
but there was still, you know, a lot of legitimate Motley Crue. I mean, to me, I don't know. The first record was the best one. And that was it for
Dude,
me.
I don't know,
Yeah.
dude. I listen to that record and I hear a garage band.
Yeah, that's what I love about it.
But then you listen to Shout at the Devil. How did you go from this sloppy garage band to this nicely polished, great songwriting fucking rock god band within the span of a year?
So you're saying it was corporate?
Oh yeah, of course it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's too much. It's too different.
Yeah.
It's too different. There's
Right.
no fucking way.
I mean, that first
Yeah.
record to me was punk rock. You know,
Yeah,
was
no, it is.
all those songs were really infectious, you know, like the Raspberries, really catchy. I mean, even the production, the raw production, it was just so cool. And then I did like Dr. Feelgood too. I thought
Oh, I
that was
love
a great
Feelgood.
album.
Yeah, that
Great
was my
album.
first tour.
Yeah.
That was my first.
Yeah,
That was
they
my
were-
first Motley show.
They were like the 80s version of Sugar Ray. You know, Sugar Ray had a couple of like punk albums, and then they were like, I just want to. Oh wait, you guys giving us pussy and drugs? Okay, yeah, no, we'll keep writing more shitty songs like this. That's where they went. Speaking of guys who have slowed down and lost their fastball, I have to go call my daughter before she goes to bed. So I am.
That is fine.
I'm
That
in a
is
different
fine.
time zone. So, dude, yeah,
Rudy,
you guys,
Rudy,
Izzy, thanks for having me, man.
of course.
Wait, what
What do you got coming up? Where are you going to be?
Let's see. So I got 2 weeks off. I'm going to be on the road. I'm going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Atlanta Punchline. That's the 15th and 16th, and then I'm back out with Adam Carolla September 13th and 14th. I'm going to be in El Paso, Texas, and just go to my website rudypavichcomedy.com or just give me a follow at Rudy_Pavich. I got a bunch of shows between now and the end of the year that I'll be uploading this week. So
And check him out all over the Instagram and the TikTok and all that shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, boys,
He's hip amongst all the kids.
yes, of course. Yeah. Listen, I hope we can all get together again, not under terrible circumstances like that.
Right.
But
Right
it's really
on.
nice to meet you, my man. Izzy,
Yeah, you too,
obviously,
bro.
always a pleasure, man.
Right.
You guys take care.
And don't forget, hold on, don't forget, since you're in the land of Michelob Golden Light, I expect some when you come back. You're on my fucking Smoking and the Bandit run right now.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm actually driving too. I drove
There you
24
go.
hours from
Bring me
Vegas.
back
to
a couple,
Vegas,
like
so.
4 kegs and about 15 cases of beer. We'll be good.
You got it, my man.
That would be a
Wait,
beautiful
Rudy,
thing.
Rudy, real quick. I know you're leaving, but where are you right now?
Northern Minnesota.
Okay, and that's where you live?
No, I live in Vegas. I came home because I was on the road for 3 weeks, and I'm just back here at my cabin, just hanging out for a couple of weeks, just writing and just kind of just taking care of stuff. So yeah.
Now I understand the whole thing with Izzy, you being in Minnesota and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And Minnesota's
Yeah.
great. I'm sure you're loving the weather this time of the year.
Oh yeah, man. The reason why I chose this time of year is because Vegas is like 107 when you wake up at 5 a.m. And then I mean, I've been here for 8 days now. It hasn't cracked 79. It's like perfect. Chef's kiss, man. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Enjoy.
All right, brother.
I like. In fact, Keith, are you in? You're in New York? Is that where you're at?
I'm in Jersey.
Oh, you're in Jersey. Okay,
Yeah.
great. I'm going to be doing. I'm doing the Gramercy Theater
Yeah, that's
September 21st, and I'm also going to be at Red Bank, New Jersey.
Oh, that's like I could throw a fastball from here. Yeah.
Oh, no
That's
kidding.
right there.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in Red Bank. I think in September, man. So I'll drop you a line, dude. If you want to come out to a show, you're more than
I'll
welcome.
hook you guys up by a text.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're playing the Count Basie, I would take it.
Yeah, I think that's where it is. Yeah.
It's
Yep, I
a,
think
it's a
what it
great
is.
theater. Red Bank is
Oh, great.
amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, there's it's a great rock and roll town, and it's it's only 45 minutes out of the city. It's perfect. I mean, this used to be the best kept secret, and then after Sandy and 9/11, everybody from New York came here, and it's a suburb of New York, but Red Bank's a great town, and you're literally right down the street. So I'd love to come see you, man. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure, man. We'll hook up. Sounds good. All right, boys, you take care.
Safe travels,
you,
Rudy. Nice
thank
meeting
See
you.
you, man. Yeah,
Check
thanks.
him
We'll
out.
see you.
RudyPavich.com. Get all of his tour dates, and you can catch him out with Carolla and every once in a while on the Carolla Show,
Cool.
reading his news and being one of his lackeys. Love Rudy. Actually, I didn't meet Rudy until I moved to Vegas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but then it's like, oh shit, we knew each other. I mean, we knew like other people. And oh shit, you're from Minnesota. I'm from Minnesota too. It's like Minnesota people turn into fucking nut jobs when they find other people from Minnesota.
Yeah, well, it's that bond, that instant camaraderie. It's like you guys are instant brothers. Knowing that. Yeah, no, that makes all the sense in the world to me.
No, I appreciate you. I appreciate you popping on, being what time it is.
Yeah, it's not that late.
It's only 12:15. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm going to catch up on some sports stuff and see how my beloved Yankees did tonight. I don't know, and
we've had this conversation.
Yep, and the and the Liberty, and believe it or not, and decompress a little bit. Yeah, it's been one of those crazy
those crazy days, man. So what are you taking out of this day? It's I know it's been a lot.
Yeah, I mean, sadly we all can't live forever,
No. Like I told Rudy, it's like, well, I'm surprised he lasted this long. With the life that he's had and what he's gone through the last 5-6 years. I'm surprised he's lasted this long, and I'm glad that he did, and he was able to do that show to say goodbye. because a
Yeah.
lot of people don't get that chance. It makes me think of like these old timers that have been doing the same thing for their entire lives, and as soon as they retire, they
Mm-hmm.
die.
Yep.
Or somebody that's been with their wife for 60 years. One of them dies, and then within the next year, the other one dies because
You see that all the time,
yeah.
constantly. Yeah. I mean, and too with Ozzy, he was always regularly playing. He would do Ozzy, then he would do Sabbath.
Yeah.
When that finally reconnected, one year it was Ozzy, the next year was Sabbath. Sometimes it was both on the Ozfest. And
Yep.
then ever since that accident, he was making albums,
Yeah.
Patient Number 9, and I forgot what the other one was, which was but and he kind of didn't, he stopped playing, and then there was the reunion, then he was going out on tour, and then the tours got postponed, and you could see physically there was something going on, and
Yeah.
it was a real battle for him to get up and just do what he did crazy a couple weeks ago. But
Yeah,
well,
well,
as you,
and I'm glad he did it, and
yeah.
not did the lip syncing thing. And he sang,
Yeah,
he fucking went out there and went out on fucking top.
Yeah, Lizzie Hale was on, with us earlier, and she was at the show and just was saying how much of a love fest it all was, and how,
Yeah.
how it was an emotional moment for everybody that was there. Guns N' Roses, Metallica, every artist, Sammy Hagar, Steven Tyler. There was no egos, there was no attitude. It was just they were all honored to be there because they knew it was going to be his last show. I don't
Yeah.
think they thought he was going to pass away 2 weeks later. Or whatever.
Right.
But
Well, it's almost like when people know that they're gonna die, and they have their funeral while they're still alive, so they can say goodbye to everybody instead of
Mhm.
everybody saying goodbye to a fucking body in a box. You know what I mean?
I just happened with a friend of mine a couple days before Ozzy, my friend Tim, who started the band Monster Magnet.
Okay.
He was one of the founders of Monster Magnet, and with Dave and McBain, and then he started the Ribeye Brothers, which is an amazing garage rock band in my neck of the woods, kind of like just a great garage rock band with the few of the original members of Monster Magnet.
Okay.
And Tim ran Jack's Music, which is an iconic record store in Red Bank, as we were just talking. Red Bank, New Jersey, Jack's, and then he wasn't feeling right for a few years. He was like kind of, and it turns out they misdiagnosed him. He had ALS.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in February, it was determined that he had ALS, and he passed away like 2 weeks ago. And
man, I'm so sorry.
yeah, but he kind of like went out on his terms, and
Yeah.
and it was and we all got to see him 2 weeks prior to that. There was a big tribute that was for Tim. I mean, everybody loved this guy. You would fall in love with him. You would have met him once and been best friends with him, Izzy.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. And just so literally right after Tim's thing was the Ozzy show, and it was almost, even though it's two different plateaus of legends, but it's very, very similar to just what happened.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, man, I know it's late there. I know it's not that late, but you got shit to do. I got shit to do. Keith, I'm going to see you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're gonna have
1 month. 1 month. It's 1 month, and we're gonna be on the Blue cruise, and we're gonna be having a good time, relaxing, because it's 7 days and everything's all spread out. We can actually chill and we can hang and not have to rush. And I'm so excited.
That's the beauty of all the On the Blue cruises, and this one's even
Yeah.
longer, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and we're so used to flying out from Miami, and this one
Yep.
from Boston into Canada into Portland. But yeah, that's gonna be a lot of. It's always a great time on the Blue, and it's gonna be very cool catching up with you and all the
Dawson.
Dawson. Yes, that's always a blast hanging with him. Is Tyson on this?
Yeah, of course.
Tyson and Todd, right? Brent Woods is on there, right?
Yeah, I think Brent's going to be on there, and Tyson will be on there with Will and Brian, and I think DJ Will might be on there too. I think. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong.
Right.
He was on Cruise of the Edge, so maybe he's coming on this one. I don't know. We'll see.
I've never done Cruise to the Edge. I've done I've done the last three.
Yeah, we're
on the
we're
Blues
hottest,
4, maybe.
we are the hottest girls on Cruise of the Edge.
I want to be on that one.
Yeah. So yeah, we got that. November, if you guys are going to be in Vegas for Kiss Tard Fest, I mean the Kiss Cruise on the Land. Come out to the unofficial pre-party at Dive Bar the night before. One Last Kiss is performing, and I am hosting the show, and I'm hosting the Las Vegas Guitar Trade Show all weekend long. So come down to the Silverton while you're in town for that. And
Hell
then,
yeah.
of course, on the 29th of August, the day I get back, at Contribute to Ace Frehley, playing with the Killer Dwarfs here in Las Vegas at the Backstage Bar and Billiards. And we're going to have those guys on the show very, very soon. I'm going to tap my good friend Keith Roth to co-host with me on that, because why not? Let's have some fun. Let's get some fucking dwarfs in. Let me hit my outro music.
Is this live, by the way?
No.
Okay.
No, unfortunately not.
I was going to say that you're going to be on the Rock Strap this upcoming Thursday.
Oh yeah, well this will be up tonight.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
It'll
this
be up
upcoming
tonight
this Thursday.
I figured there's going to be 17 million Ozzy Remembrance podcasts this evening. Why not make it 17 million and one? And then yes.
Well, a lot of people have asked me, and I said no, I got to be on Izzy. So it's,
I appreciate that.
I did the Boneyard, and then I jumped right over here. If I seem a little out of it,
that.
I do apologize.
It's all like it. Check him out on Ozzy's Boneyard. Check him out on Hair Nation, and
come see the Dictators.
Yeah,
we got some stuff coming up. Keith Roth, just follow me.
Do it. And hit up izzypresley.com. Hit all my socials. You saw those all at the top of the show, and sign up for the goddamn Patreon. It's only $5 a month. Patreon.com/RealIzzyPresley. I will talk to you guys maybe in a couple days, for sure next week. On behalf of Rudy Pavich, rudypavich.com, Keith Roth, my name is Izzy Presley, and don't forget, what I lack in talent, I make up for in the cock.